Big Z Reviews. Late Night with the Devil is a new indie horror film that came out recently, and I think it's still in limited theaters, but is now on demand. And it's a good film, but I think it didn't quite nail the end, at least for me. But I still enjoyed it. It's a really interesting new take on a horror film.
You're meddling with things you don't understand.
Whoa! Now, as you know, here on Night Owls, we think it's very important to keep an open mind. Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil.
I really don't think it's a good idea, Jack. She's becoming more unpredictable.
That's a good thing. That's why we still do live TV. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first.
So this was directed by Cameron Cairns and Colin Cairns. And it mainly stars David Dastmalchian as Jack Delroy. And essentially, he's a late-night talk show host that's going against Johnny Carson. And this is kind of like half mockumentary and half just a look at the night of where everything went crazy on Halloween during Sweeps Week, when he's trying to do some crazy stuff to get more viewers and then, try to put up a fight against Johnny Carson. And I think my biggest problem with the film is that I wish it had embraced the mockumentary aspect a little bit more. Because I think we could have just had an amazing film, but I feel like it's a mixture where it starts off like a straight mockumentary, saying, doing all of the heavy lifting, doing the info dumps, doing, setting up all the backstory of the show and the characters. And it's like you're watching a documentary. And then you go into, that night. And the documentary aspect is just gone. And, but at the same time, most of the stuff is still stuff that you could see, they're filming, during commercial breaks and stuff. So it could, I don't know why they structured it like that. I feel like the framework of the film could have been so much more interesting if they had, more. During the climax, a lot of shit goes down. The shit hits the fan. But there's still, a lot of people that they could have been done, fake interviews. You have the whole crowd of people and a lot of people that worked on the show. So you could have had, them, for, in between different scenes, you could have had them, talking to them about, what they remember from the night or, stuff like that. Because it doesn't, and it's, especially at the end, you're still, for almost the whole thing, I'm not going to spoil it, but towards the end, it, completely changes and goes into the final climax. It's kind of where it shows that this is an indie film, and the CGI they use is really bad. And it's before, stuff that they did looked really good, and some practical and just stuff that looked really cool. But towards the end, they had to do stuff where they could only do CGI, and it lost me a little bit. I was it's supposed to be everything is going crazy, but I was okay. I almost would have, especially then it goes into a person's mind, kinda. So it's obviously, there's no way they could have footage of this, so I just wish that they could have even done something with talking to a final we were able to get this person for the interview, and we recreated what he says he saw, or something like that. And I feel like there's a way this movie could have been even better, but it's not a bad film. It just left me wanting more. I especially found too, I really liked David Dastmalchian, but he wasn't that personable, especially him along with his sidekick. They didn't have that much camera ability. I'm a big fan of late night TV. I've been watching it since I was a kid. I know when both my parents worked My dad worked for the Pennsylvania Department of Health. My mom was a teacher. And so like I'm also my grandmother, who I used to call Diddy, like she lived like a block away from elementary school and like 2 blocks away from the middle school. So like I would every day after school I would we'd walk to my grandmother's house, and we would play rummy, we play Scrabble, we do puzzles. Like she would did a lot of fun stuff, but she loved Johnny Carson, and she had like tapes of the best of him, and like we watched other stuff like the best of different old shows that we would watch together. And I watched a lot of that Johnny Carson, and I watched I was a big fan of Conan. Like right now I'm a huge fan of Stephen Colbert. Like I watch everything, but like Colbert is my favorite in that right now. And like so I know late night TV, and I don't know if it quite hits the mark. Also, I really liked watching the Sanders Show, I think the Larry Sanders Show, and that was like a behind the scenes look on the making of a late night TV show. And I think that I wish it was more of like the Larry Sanders Show. Like I wish there was more behind the scenes stuff and more, and like again, or just more like Lake Mongo, or like some of those things that like diving into the mockumentary aspect. Like there's a lot of great stuff. Like, a couple really shitty AI pictures, but there's so much good in this movie that I wish it could have been just a little bit better. But at the same time, it's a really interesting film. It has a really spooky thing, and I love the character that was like the debunker is great, and the even the possessed girl, like how she's just looking at everything the whole time, like even when she's not fully possessed, there's definitely something wrong with her. Like there's a lot of really interesting stuff in this film, and I would recommend it, but it's not something that I love necessarily. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.